I wanted to maybe talk through some My Hero Academia and where does that land in the whole sphere of shows to watch,
I like
and where is
I
it
just
now?
like it. I mean, it's a little more like it's not necessarily. It does get dark it is kind of dark at times, and it'll hit you with some darkness out of the blue. You're just like, "Oh man, that was messed up." But it's not like graphic with it. But it's another one that is like the Reuben sandwich.
Yep.
It kind of puts a bunch of pieces together and you like it.
Yeah,
Um
and it has some really great moments too. I feel like that show, story wise, and the arc of the stories is good, and it keeps you in watching. But there's certain moments that stand out in the show as epic, unforgettable moments.
well, in the pacing of the show, that's great. They really do the viewer a favor by getting through the arcs in a like I guess a proficient way that there's no they're not just trying to get the most out of every episode as far as like filler and all that stuff. It is all canon. There's no filler. They move through the arcs not too quick at basically the perfect pace. The
Yeah,
pacing of
it's
it is
really
great.
nice pacing.
Uh, so you're getting where you want to um, without any of the fluff. And where they're at now, I think it's probably could be one of the better ones. I think if they keep going with it, depending how far it goes,
It can go a long time. That
it
the
could.
template they're working with can go on indefinitely.
So it
It
could
could be
be
a
a
thousands of
contender for
episodes.
like one of the best long, like we talked about, the long
Right.
uh, running animes of all time. To me, if it goes 100 or a few hundred episodes and they keep that pacing and they keep doing what they're doing, then I think that's probably one of the top, if not the top, honestly. It
Right.
depends.
It's like we only have a third against the holes of these long epic
Right,
ones. But
but
if
they
it stays on track what it's doing, you know, it's a
but they
good
could
one.
have done what the other ones did, and it would be like almost as long. They could have had
Like
5 episodes every
seasons of
season of just
filler.
nonsense, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Easily.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
They just moved you through the story with good pacing. There's not a moment in that show for me where I'm like, "Come on, let's go." What is going on? I had those moments in Naruto, I had them in Bleach, I had them in all those long animes. I was just like, "What's going on here? Are we gonna get to the fight or what?"
I know.
Dragon
Let's
Ball Z,
go.
"Hey, what's going on here? Should I just fast forward? Let me just click to the next episode." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not in that show. I watched every episode through and through, and they all mattered. Every piece of it was important to the
Yep.
show and in the actual the story.
Yep.
So I think that's a great show. It's definitely more of a teenage kid kind of thing. I do kind of like more adult stuff, obviously, but I
Yeah, I
also
didn't know how to
that
take it
too.
at first. I was like, am I gonna like this? And you will. Like
Well, if
it's
you
hard to
have,
not like
I
My
told you
Hero.
once, if you don't like My Hero, you're some kind of sociopath. Um, you
Exactly.
got
Yeah.
you got something wrong with you. If it doesn't hit you in the feels every once in a while, you're messed up.
Yeah, you're broken inside.
Yeah, you got mental illness.
Yeah, yeah. You should
um,
be
because
more
like
medicated or maybe less
and
medicated.
maybe not like just the first season. I could see someone falling off in the first season.
Right.
But by the time you get to when Midoriya fights Todoroki and he's like making him realize that his quirk is his own and all that stuff, you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's like it's a good feeling. You
Yeah.
know, and then
Yep.
again, the score comes in. It's really good. The camera shots, the dialogue, the voice acting, it all comes together at the right
Really good
moment.
voice acting.
And yes, I think the
Excellent
all
voice acting.
Japanese, all the Japanese actors in all these animes are actually really
Yeah.
good. I
Always, and that's another thing for newcomers to anime. Always sub, never dub. Never
think
ever the
so
dub.
too. Some people are dicks about it. I just don't. I don't. It's like
Always
you
sub,
can't
man.
read. You just can't read. I
That's what
mean,
it is. That's what it really is. They're not readers, and they want make some excuse of why the dub is better. The dub is never better.
Never,
Always sub,
never was.
never the dub.
Say there's not a good dub out there. I mean, actually,
There is good dubs, there,
My Hero's dub is pretty good. That's a
but
pretty
not as
good
good as
dub,
the sub.
but it is nowhere near
No,
the Japanese voice actors
no.
when they're screaming and shit. I'm sorry, Japanese men, like they learn how to like speak gutturally at a very young age.
Yeah,
You can't really capture that with a dub, and you
so
can't.
much overacting in the dub too.
Yeah,
Right? We just don't have it as an art form in the West. It's not a
right.
practiced art form. And it
No,
comes off that way. It's inferior actors, whereas they have top tier voice actors doing these in the East.
yeah, and it can't be beat. I mean,
No.
when Midori is screaming for the kid to run when he's fighting the muscular character or whatever,
Yeah.
you get chills. You get fucking chills. You're like, damn. You're like, oh
Yeah, and
fuck.
that's what I mean. That it has these moments already that are forever etched in your mind of, oh my God, that episode was amazing. Just amazing.
Man, did you watch all the way through all of it?
Uh I think I got through at least
You
is there
watched all the
three
airy stuff, right? Like where he goes
yeah.
and sees the little girl, which is
I
really
watched
great.
all the way up until saving the little girl and the end of that arc. And then I
Yeah, did
haven't
you see
watched
the
and then I
airy
watched
of it?
3 or 4
Because
episodes of the next arc.
you gotta finish the next arc because they go into what's they refer to as My Villain Academia, and it just kind of like takes
Oh, I think is that when all the villains
the villains go into the
invade the school?
no, that's like
That's the first
that's the first season, I think.
season.
The villain is just about the guy with the hands on his face.
Yeah, yeah.
You know him? And he's like
He did great character design as
it's
well.
messed up. It's another one where you're like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" It gets all of a
Yep.
sudden dark on you real quick, and you're like, "Oh shit!" This is kind of fucked. So it's his little background. It's basically his origin,
Yeah.
and it goes through, and he gets like, it goes through till where they're at now. They'll start the next season in October, I think, and that goes to where basically he's going to get leveled up. You know what I mean? And so I would watch that through if you can, just fire it up. Maybe
Yeah,
catch
I'll
up on
definitely
season 4, kind of see if what you missed. If you never saw, because it gets a little, it's all canon, but it gets a little hoity-toity at the end of the Airy thing where they're like doing a concert and stuff, and there's no action and stuff. But it's like to get those characters into the fold. And then they wrap that up with Endeavor, who's the fire guy, and he has
yeah.
2 episodes at the end of that give you chills too. You're like,
Okay,
oh
cool.
shit.